as the world watches rising tensions across the Middle East with secret negotiations, cyber warfare, and shifting alliances between Iran, Israel, and the US. One figure remains at the center of it all: Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. He's not just a religious leader. He's the silent force behind a $100 billion empire, hidden behind walls of secrecy and luxury. Stay with us as we unveil the extravagant, powerful, and guarded life of Iran's most mysterious figure. Don't forget to subscribe for more untold billionaire stories from around the world. From poverty to supreme power. He was born into poverty in Mashhad, Iran in 1939. Just another child in a modest clerical household with no visible path to greatness. But what Ayatollah Ali Khamenei lacked in wealth, he made up for with an unwavering belief in ideology and strategy. Decades later, he would rise to become one of the most powerful and elusive men on the planet. Khamenei's climb began in the turbulent years leading up to the 1979 Iranian Revolution. As the Shah's regime teetered under pressure, Khamenei aligned himself closely with the revolutionary forces, building his influence quietly behind the scenes. When the monarchy finally collapsed, a new Islamic republic emerged, and Khamenei seized his moment. He was appointed president in 1981, but his ambitions didn't stop there. By 1989, following the death of Ayatollah Khamenei, he assumed the title of supreme leader. From that point forward, Iran's constitution gave him near absolute authority. But what makes Khamenei's power truly unmatched is that it's not just spiritual, it's institutional. While the Iranian president is elected and subject to term limits, Khamenei answers to no one. He controls the military through the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, dictates judicial rulings, and directs media narratives via state-run broadcasters. Even Iran's Guardian Council and Expediency Discernment Council, the bodies that decide who can run for office and how laws are interpreted, are filled with his loyalists. In essence, Khamenei isn't just a political figure. He's the architect of a parallel system of governance that operates above the visible government. This silent machinery allows him to override any elected official, veto legislation, or crush dissent without leaving a public fingerprint. His web of influence extends so deeply that even the most powerful Iranian ministers consult his office before making key decisions. This consolidation of power didn't happen overnight. It took years of behind-the-scenes maneuvering, ideological grooming, and loyalty testing. And as the region descends into fresh turmoil, with rising tensions involving Israel and the United States, Khamenei's unshakable grip on Iran is once again being tested. What do you think? Can a leader who rose from nothing continue to hold absolute power in a changing world? Drop your thoughts in the comments. The $100 billion zero-sense empire. He may wear a simple turban and robe, but behind that modest appearance lies one of the largest hidden empires in modern history. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Iran's supreme leader, is not just a religious figure. He is the secretive controller of a shadow financial empire estimated at over $100 billion, built through a dense network of organizations, holdings, and state-backed monopolies. At the center of this empire is an institution few outside Iran have heard of, Setad-e-Ahie Farmain Hazreti Imam, or simply Setad. On paper, Setad was created to manage abandoned properties after the revolution, but in reality it grew into a sprawling financial machine with assets in nearly every sector of Iran's economy, from telecommunications to real estate, energy to pharmaceuticals. Setad doesn't just hold investments, it owns power and answers directly to one man, Khamenei himself. Through Setad and other entities like Astan Quds-Razavi and the Foundation of the Oppressed, Bonid Mostazafan, Khamenei has extended his influence into vast corners of Iranian society. These quasi-state foundations, shielded from oversight, operate like private holding companies. They are exempt from taxes, audits, and legal scrutiny. They manage massive real estate portfolios, control large portions of Iran's industrial production, and dominate commercial markets. But it's not just about ownership, it's about protection. These organizations serve as both economic engines and shields, allowing Khamenei to funnel profits into opaque accounts, overseas ventures and real estate holdings in Europe, Asia, and even Africa, all while maintaining plausible deniability. While Iran's citizens suffer under crushing sanctions, soaring inflation, and economic isolation, Khamenei's empire remains curiously insulated. Sanctions rarely touch these institutions directly. That's not by accident, it's by design. The supreme leader's wealth is carefully obscured behind layers of bureaucracy, cutouts, and front companies. Even Western intelligence struggles to track the full scope of this financial network. The result is a paradox. Iran appears to be a theocratic state battling economic ruin, yet its top religious leader enjoys financial security that rivals oil magnates and tech billionaires. In fact, according to investigative estimates, the supreme leader's reach across Iran's economy may rival that of any president, prime minister, or monarch in the world. Khamenei has created a system where wealth, power, and religion are inseparably intertwined, and his grip on all three shows no signs of loosening. Hidden life and high security. He once stood as a constant presence on Iranian state TV, stern, composed, and ever watchful. But today, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has all but vanished from the public eye. According to multiple intelligence sources and regional analysts, the supreme leader of Iran has quietly relocated to a fortified, undisclosed compound, shielded by an elite protection force so secretive that even senior military commanders have little knowledge of its full operations. The decision to disappear wasn't symbolic, it was strategic. With escalating external threats from sophisticated intelligence networks, particularly those tied to Israel and its allies, Iran's top leadership now views Khamenei's personal safety as a matter of national survival. The move followed a series of high-profile operations targeting Iranian nuclear scientists and military officials, attacks widely believed to be carried out using state-of-the-art surveillance, drone technology, and cyber infiltration. In response, Iran's inner security apparatus was overhauled. Khamenei's personal detail is no longer part of any official military branch. Instead, it now consists of a covert, ultra-vetted special unit trained to counter drone surveillance, electronic tracking, and precision-targeted strikes. This team is also tasked with managing secure communications, guarding classified movement schedules, and even preemptively relocating decoy convoys across Tehran to blur Khamenei's trail. The new facility, believed to be buried deep beneath a classified military site in northern Iran, is not just a safe house. It is, in essence, a mobile command center, hardened against bunker-busting missiles and equipped with anti-drone jamming technology. Sources claim it includes underground tunnels, emergency medical bays, and independent power and water systems. The site can reportedly operate autonomously, even during nationwide blackouts or external attacks. This unprecedented security shift highlights a critical truth. Khamenei is no longer a visible symbol of power, but a protected asset, hidden by a regime that sees vulnerability not just as a weakness, but as an invitation for foreign intervention. While Iranian state media continues to portray him as calm and in control, the reality is far more complex. The supreme leader now governs from the shadows, tethered to a world of encrypted communications, surveillance countermeasures, and calculated isolation. In the face of modern warfare, where drones fly silently and information moves faster than bullets, Khamenei has become the ghost at the heart of a nervous empire, the Black Robot dynasty. He's the supreme leader, but his reach stretches far beyond religion or politics. Behind the scenes, Ali Khamenei's family operates like a black robe dynasty, quietly dominating Iran's economy while projecting the illusion of clerical modesty. Their power isn't measured in speeches or sermons, but in billions of dollars funneled through shell companies, real estate empires, and offshore accounts that span from Europe to the Persian Gulf. At the heart of this shadow empire is Mojtaba Khamenei, the supreme leader's son and potential heir. Far from being a spiritual scholar, Mojtaba controls key appointments within Iran's military and intelligence networks, including the IRGC's most sensitive branches. His influence secures loyalty across the regime's core institutions, effectively making him one of the most powerful unelected figures in the country. According to various reports, Mojtaba is already managing much of his father's wealth, ensuring continuity of control should anything happen to the supreme leader. But the dynasty doesn't end there. Other family members, including nephews and in-laws, own stakes in critical industries like construction, telecommunications, import-export, and energy infrastructure. Using state contracts and government-backed loans, they've built sprawling business networks hidden behind layers of proxies. Many of these ventures benefit directly from sanction loopholes, allowing the family to move capital discreetly across international borders, while Iran's broader population faces economic hardship. One of the most shocking revelations is the accumulated offshore wealth. Leaked documents and intelligence dossiers estimate that the Khamenei network controls over $90 billion in real estate, corporate shares, and foreign currency reserves, through secret holdings in Luxembourg, Dubai, Oman, and even parts of Africa. All of this while Iranian citizens endure record inflation, mass unemployment, and rolling blackouts. This contrast between austerity in public and opulence in private is no accident, it's strategy. By wearing the black robes of a humble cleric, Khamenei cultivates an image of piety and sacrifice. But behind closed doors, his family's wealth rivals that of modern monarchies. And that raises the question, is Iran still a theocracy, or has it quietly become a royal family with turbans instead of crowns? Do you think dynastic power like this can last forever? Or is it bound to collapse under its own weight? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Palaces and private jets. Behind the austere image of Iran's supreme leader lies a hidden world of opulence, security, and extraordinary wealth. While Ayatollah Ali Khamenei publicly portrays himself as a modest cleric devoted to spiritual leadership, the reality of his private life tells a far different story. One built on high walls, armored convoys, and unimaginable luxury. At the center of this empire is the Beit Rahbari, a sprawling fortress compound in central Tehran. Estimated to be worth over $1 billion, this heavily guarded facility serves as both residence and command center. Surrounded by sniper towers, motion sensors, and multi-tiered walls, it includes a private mosque, imported Italian marble floors, concealed escape tunnels, and subterranean bunkers designed to withstand aerial assaults. While it remains off-limits to nearly all Iranian citizens, and even to most top government officials, satellite imagery has exposed rooftop gardens, luxury reception halls, and a central courtyard that rivals royal estates in Europe. But Khamenei's dominion stretches well beyond the capital. He holds access to at least 7 known luxury estates across Iran, including multi-million-dollar villas in the Alborz Mountains and along the Caspian Sea coast. These retreats offer discreet helipads, indoor pools, and panoramic surveillance systems. Estimates place the combined value of these properties at over $500 million. Each compound is patrolled by elite IRGC intelligence units sworn to secrecy and loyalty. Here, Khamenei escapes the noise of Tehran to remote sanctuaries built for solitude and survival. His air fleet is no less extravagant. Khamenei reportedly uses a customized Airbus A340 valued at roughly $250 million, retrofitted with anti-missile defense, encrypted military-grade communications, and interiors styled in silk and gold. Other aircraft in his fleet include Dassault Falcons and modified Ilyushins, raising the total aviation assets under his discretion to nearly $600 million. Inside, he enjoys prayer chambers, soundproof strategic meeting rooms, and luxury sleeping suites fit for a head of state. This lifestyle is not just excessive, it's strategic. Every residence, aircraft, and bunker is a layer of protection and power projection. In a country plagued by blackouts, breadlines, and brutal inflation, the supreme leader's fortified world remains untouched. While millions of Iranians endure hardship, Khamenei moves through a parallel Iran of the eye. One defined not by sacrifice but by silk, steel, and silence. A global chess game. While Iran publicly projects strength through bold speeches and military parades, a quieter, more strategic battle is unfolding behind the scenes, one where words are replaced by whispers and power is exercised not on the battlefield, but through encrypted messages, private envoys, and relentless cyber operations. At the heart of this high-stakes chess match is Ali Khamenei. Despite his austere image, the supreme leader is neither passive nor reactive. Behind closed doors, he directs Iran's regional posture with careful precision, engaging in a geopolitical balancing act that requires both caution and cunning. While his country faces increasing economic isolation, internal protests, and pressure from regional adversaries, Khamenei has chosen not to meet force with open confrontation, but with covert influence and calculated restraint. One of the key strategies in his arsenal is back-channel diplomacy. Silent conversations with intermediaries, often conducted through third-party nations or unofficial diplomatic lines. These communications allow Khamenei's regime to test the waters of negotiation without appearing weak at home. Though publicly defiant, Iranian leadership has, on numerous occasions, quietly signaled openness to de-escalation, especially when the threat of war becomes tangible. In recent months, with rising military tensions and Israel's precision targeting of Iranian operatives, these private overtures have only grown more frequent. Meanwhile, Iran is expanding its operations in the digital battlefield. Under Khamenei's guidance, the country's cyber warfare units have become some of the most advanced in the region. These teams operate out of high-tech centers reportedly funded with budgets exceeding $80 million annually, carrying out attacks on infrastructure, surveillance grids, and information systems across borders. This form of asymmetric warfare is cost-pocketive, yet potent, allowing Iran to destabilize adversaries without risking direct engagement. But Khamenei's greatest challenge lies not abroad, but within. His regime is sitting on a fragile balance of fear and control. With inflation surging, youth disillusionment rising, and luxury wealth, like his son Mojtaba's estate in Elahiye, valued at nearly $20 million, becoming more visible. The illusion of revolutionary modesty wears thin. To maintain his grip, Khamenei must continue walking a tightrope between secrecy and strength, diplomacy and dominance, image versus reality. In front of cameras, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is the embodiment of piety and simplicity. Dressed in modest robes, he speaks of resistance, sacrifice, and Islamic virtue, reminding Iranians to endure economic hardship with dignity. Yet behind the curtain, a very different story unfolds. Khamenei's real lifestyle contradicts nearly everything he preaches. Far from austere, his private world is one of sprawling estates, rare artworks, and immense personal wealth. Estimates place his control over assets valued at more than $100 billion, channeled through a vast network of charities, real estate holdings, and shadowy conglomerates. His main residence, kept hidden from the public, is guarded by elite forces and fortified like a presidential palace, with rumors of underground bunkers, gold-adorned halls, and even private cinemas. Meanwhile, the average Iranian citizen faces food inflation, job insecurity, and international sanctions. This glaring contrast has not gone unnoticed. In whispers across bazaars and cafes, many now question how a leader who promotes martyrdom and sacrifice can enjoy such vast luxuries while asking others to suffer. The more Khamenei's inner circle consolidates wealth through monopolies and offshore dealings, the more visible the hypocrisy becomes. But what's truly masterful is how well this image is controlled. Khamenei's media empire, religious institutions, and intelligence networks work overtime to present him as a selfless guardian of the revolution. State-run broadcasts only show his humble side, never the armored convoys, private jets, or luxurious compounds. Dissidents and journalists who hint at the truth are often silenced or imprisoned, preserving the illusion that the supreme leader shares the people's pain. This clash between image and reality is more than just moral contradiction, it's a ticking clock. In a nation where hardship is growing and access to outside information is increasing, even the most carefully crafted persona can crack. And when it does, the consequences may shake the regime from within. Do you think a leader can sustain absolute control while living so far removed from the struggles of his people? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Legacy and uncertainty. As the years pass, one question grows louder within Iran and beyond. What happens after Ali Khamenei? Now in his 80s and facing increasing speculation about his health, the supreme leader's future and the future of the entire Islamic Republic hangs in a delicate balance. Khamenei has ruled since 1989, longer than any leader in the Middle East today. But no rule lasts forever. Behind the scenes, Iran's elite are quietly maneuvering. The Revolutionary Guard, clerical establishment, and political insiders all seek influence over what comes next. Some believe his son, Mojtaba Khamenei, is being positioned to inherit the role, an idea that has sparked internal controversy and fears of a hereditary dictatorship. Others point to powerful clerics or military leaders who could stage a quiet power grab, especially if instability increases following Khamenei's departure. Meanwhile, Iran's external environment is growing more volatile. The The sudden death of President Raisi in 2024 shook the nation, leaving a power vacuum that further emphasized Khamenei's irreplaceable role. With Israel continuing its covert operations and the United States once again taking a hardline approach under a new administration, the risks of miscalculation are higher than ever. The regime is not only dealing with potential leadership collapse, but also facing unprecedented external pressure that could accelerate internal fractures. Economically, the country remains under intense sanctions. Inflation has crippled middle-class savings and unemployment among youth is soaring, yet the regime continues to invest in regional influence and military build-up, suggesting a leadership more concerned with legacy and deterrence than reform. For many ordinary Iranians, hope lies in a transition, whether peaceful or forced, that might finally shift the course of the nation. The uncertainty surrounding Khamenei's succession is not just a domestic issue. It's a geopolitical question with global implications. The next leader of Iran will inherit not just a nation, but a legacy of defiance, isolation, and confrontation. Whether that legacy continues or breaks is a decision that may shape the Middle East for decades to come. As Iran teeters between continuity and change, the life of Ali Khamenei serves as a mirror to the contradictions of power itself. Devotion cloaked in decadence, silence guarded by surveillance, and isolation backed by unimaginable wealth. His legacy, though shrouded in mystery, will outlive his rule, influencing not only Iran's future, but the balance of power across the Middle East. As succession rumors swirl and global tensions intensify, one truth remains: the end of Khamenei's era could mark either a turning point or a dangerous vacuum. For those watching, the next chapter may be the most unpredictable one yet.